Hi folks, and welcome to the Filmumik channel. And today I'm in the forest again, and I wanted to get something I think special for you, because a lot of you guys know knives like this, and it loosely follows the one made popular by George Washington Sears, aka Nessmuk, and a lot of people know his works on camping and woodcraft, and so much in fact that he almost started a movement. And but what fewer people know is that he also wrote poetry. And if you look at that, that's Forest Runes. And I want to read to you one that I find oddly fitting for our situations worldwide, so I want to read it out to you. It is called Lines for the Times, and it goes like this. Ho! Fellow workmen, one and all, in mill and mine, or lanes of traffic, behold a hand upon the wall, the mystic writing, terse and graphic. The priceless heritage we hold slips through our hands to foes and strangers, while honor trades for place or gold, and freedom kneels to money changers. The stern, true way the fathers taught has passed away with those who taught it. The honor they so dearly bought rests in the grave with those who bought it. We retrograde through each decade. The statesman sinks to politician. We mark with sordid lines of trade the caste of plebeian or patrician. We teach the nation's youth to wade in moral filth of sharp finessing, that godliness is thrifty trade and sudden wealth the chiefest blessing. The trickster and the shameless guile with brazen frauds and lying faces disgrace the nation's forum, while corruption rules in highest places. Alas, there is no God but gold, no good save riches or position. Our chosen ones are bought and sold, their names sink down to swift perdition. They laugh the pilgrim sires to scorn. On every sea their ships are sailing, so that they win the oil and corn. What though the grand old cause be failing? The gifts that time has held in store, the wisdom governed by the sages, the treasured wealth of ancient lore, we hold in trust for future ages. The gifts are laid before our eyes, the riches wait for us to use them, to take if we be strong and wise, if weak and trifling, to refuse them. If we whose sinews pay for all, through weak defense, ill-timed and aimless, allow our cause to go in thrall, shall coming ages hold us blameless? We have the lesson taught by Rome, the more our shame that we should need it. The application lies at home, the better for us if we heed it. What if the garnered wealth and lore be dowered on souls that shun and flee them? Or godlike gems and diadems be held to eyes that will not see them? We have the right, we have the might. The rhyme is meet for the occasion. Who seeks the light shall see the light. Who shuns it woos his own damnation. And I find this oddly fitting for our times, because what he's talking about is pretty obvious. And this is not just exclamation marks poetry or just a mere fancy or something, but our own damnation that we have wooed by the endeavors he describes in the poem is climate change, wars for resources that no one wins, by the way, and the downfall of mankind that's ultimately coming, and that's according to more than 90,000 independent scientific studies worldwide. So the sad thing about this is that it's not about the fellow workmen, and not the people toiling in mill and mine or in lanes of traffic, but they are taken down into the abyss with all the others. And well, that is sort of a dire warning. It is, I think it's sort of prophetic, what he said. And well, the culprit is not what we think it is. We think it is, well, wealth inequality, or even capitalism, but it goes far, far deeper than that. It is something that is so deep that I am a little bit reluctant to call it colonialism, even though this plays a huge part in it, because it is greed. It is the hunger for more and ever more. And it's something that I can't free myself from being prone to that either. I just found some awesome oyster mushrooms on a tree stump, and there is always this impetus to take more than you need. And I have to consciously fight the impulse to take more than I need, because they will rot away anyway. And it's also for the animals, for nature, and and it plays a very important part in nature. But you need to go out to nature to understand this. And maybe it's not even that it is what we call greed, but there's something. We are creatures of need, and we are thrown into this world as a naked ape. And we try to make life a little bit more cozy by telling ourselves stories, and that's a great thing, and it's really great. And we, as any creature on Earth, deserve our creature comforts. But so does a deer, so does the hare, or the mushroom, or the tree, and well. I strongly, or at least I often think about the concept of Mitakuye Oyasin, which is a Lakota word for we are all relatives on this planet. Meaning, if you really break it down to the basis of levels, so that a Washitan like me can understand it too. It is that we are all in this shit together. This is the only inhabitable planet in the known universe. And if we ruin it, that's about it. There's no second chance, no second planet, no second coming, no enlightenment, and what have you. And we are not the crown of creation. We are not superior to any does that squirrel over the wild pigs, or the wolf, or the tree, or the humblest of insect in the ground. And I think we forgot that. And maybe, well, how to put that without insulting Christians, but I do think that we could be far worse off than living according to the Christian religion, or what have you, or spirituality. I'm not too fond of religion, because there are a lot of good things in there, and but so are other religions. So and and I think it was about time that we understood the Wits and Wonder in a way that we need to really experience what it's all about, rather than listening to the Phariseans around. And we need to understand each other and to stop building Babel towers, because it's always ending in the same way. So, well, I'm not a preacher, and I don't want to be one. I just wanted to say, share this with you. And if you don't know the book, I really recommend you get it. It's a really awesome read, and it's there are also really funny things in there, and like I really dig Hiawatha. Why I don't like Hiawatha. What was it? Where is it now? That's where a register is for, in it. So, looking at the register, where to find it. Also, he has some really interesting words about colonialism and racism. Not that he was not a racist, because everyone with white heritage. Why I love Hiawatha 47, which is a really hilarious thing. And I read to you the first stanza. Of all sweet poetic metres that the bards have ever chanted, from the days of old blind Homer to the times of poet Tupper, no one hath more pleasant chiming than Longfellow's Indian legend when he sings of Hiawatha, of heroic Hiawatha. Reason good have I to love it, reason have I to be grateful, and thereby a tale is hanging. 'Twas in frosty bright October, when the lofty sugar maples don their robes of golden glory, when the graceful drooping birches put on lemon-colored vestments, when the walnuts or the beeches all are garbed in russet yellow, while the gentle albic maples dress in royal robes of scarlet, royal robes of gorgeous scarlet. 'Twas in brilliant hued October, when the smoky Indian summer was upon the land in beauty, when the outlines of the mountains seem like rolls of purple velvet, that with tomahawk and rifle hied I to the primal forest, to the grand and silent forest. Oh, the days of dreamy pleasure that I passed upon the mountain, and the nights of sleepy leisure in my camp beside the fountain. And so forth, and it goes like this: that he meets a drunken Irishman who threatens him to beat him up with his shillelagh, and utterly goes on his nerves, because he just wants to sit there by the fire and do nothing, and he is yelling wildly, laughing gaily, with most impudent assurance, flourishing a big shillelagh. It was getting past endurance. He kept it up throughout the morrow, howling like a dozen demons, and I saw with dread and horror that the fellow had the trimmings, filling me with fear and loathing, loading me with foul abuse, seeking snakes upon his clothing, rats and spiders on his shoes. And he threatened me with murder in the lonely forest, thinking that I was a rival for the favours of his Mary in the Isle of Arran, on the verdant banks of Shannon, Mary, who her troth has plighted to this drunken son of Connacht, to this wild red-headed Paddy. And so forth, and he finds a volume of Hiawatha by Longfellow, and starts to read it to him, and by reading that to him, the fellow falls asleep, and he's got his solitude again. So this is not all about really, really grave and dire topics, is what I want to say. There are, however, a lot of satires, and I personally like the tone, because he's never falling into the trap to take himself too serious, and that's really refreshing to read. And so, if you want to give it a go, huge recommendation, and also an awesome campfire read, by the way. You could gather with your mates around the campfire and read one poem after the other, because they are all related. And one of my favorites is, by the way, Flight of the Goddess, which is almost spiritual, or a hunting song, or lotus eating. And From the Misanthrope is one of my favorites too. It's a little bit dire and a little bit grave, but it has a lot to do with his biography. So that said, this cost me about, I need to look at that, I think it was some, what was it? 20 euros, and well worth it. In Germany you can get it via Hanse, he also explains how he came by the name Nessmuk, and to those who do not already know that story, I'm putting it really, really short, because it isn't short, I think, and it has a lot of meaning. I will make a video about that later on, because as a boy he grew up in a gorge, and which is a strip of land that belonged to no one, and it was just left out when the land was prospected and divided. So they got taxes, as he said, but he was left out of school. Instead, there was a band of I was born in the sterile part of sterile Massachusetts, on the border of Douglas Woods, within half a mile of Nessmuk Pond and within 3 miles of Junkermauk Lake. The startling event happened in the South Gore about 64 years ago. He's writing that in 1887. There was the best Indian of the band was powerful Narang Sets, Indian Levy, as the whites called him. He was known among his tribe as Nessmuk, and I think he exerted a stronger influence on my future than any other man. As a fine physical specimen, and sorry for that, of the animal man. And that's inherent racism, but one that Nessmuk himself, Nessmuk, George Washington Sears, rebelled against, so much in fact that he got whipped with an apple twig quite frequently, because he hung out with quote unquote dirty Injuns. But he kept on anyway, just took the beating and hung out with Nessmuk again. And the story goes like this, that Nessmuk died, and he started to call favorite things like canoes or what have you, or a rifle, Nessmuk, and which means, by the way, wood drake. And because his Native American friend was really good at swimming, and took him on his shoulders and swam across Junkermauk Lake, and he was really good at swimming, and hence the name Nessmuk. But the irony, the name stuck to him, to himself, and actually he really does his Native American friend a lot of honor, and he frequently says this in his works, and he attributes everything he knows about woodcraft and also the inspiration of this book to this Native American young man. And I don't know what a remnant of the Nipmuc Indians, I quote, Nipmuc tribe of Native American people. And this is actually a lot of material for another video, because this pretty much shows how colonialism works and how decolonialization might work. Because, well, he resisted, and just by resisting, he created almost something like a global movement, because we all love Nessmuk, and we all have learned a lot, and maybe the whole bushcraft endeavor or bushcraft community would not exist in the same way had it not been for George Washington Sears, and in consequence had it not been for Nessmuk. And I think we should start to give more credit to the Native American man called Nessmuk, who taught George Washington Sears what he knew, because we know because of Nessmuk, not because of George Washington Sears, because I think that Nipmuc tribe member would not have written a book or something. So he actually played a very important role in preserving the knowledge. But we also need to, I want to honor that Nipmuc Native American Nessmuk, because I'm really grateful for this book and the knowledge he transferred. So that's it. I think this is material for another video. I will bore you out shitless with my musings on stuff like that. And please spare me the comments on dog breeds, because it is disproven by science. It is just, I cannot stop you, and I don't want to limit your opinions, but that's not an opinion, it's just a fallacy. It's wrong. It has been disproven by science that there is anything else but phenotypes in human beings, and we don't have it. It doesn't exist. So please spare it. Maybe I can find some evidence on that later on, but at the moment I lack the energy to go on all these research sites, and I'm also still not having internet and phone contract. So keep it civil, folks, because I cannot moderate your content in my comment section. So I don't. And then I'm not afraid of someone being of a different opinion. I'm just a little bit drained by because Germany is also going off their rocker with some humpback whales exploding on beaches, and they're making a cult of it. So it's totally draining me out at the moment, because there's so much evidence, and we have all the knowledge that we have at our disposal, all the knowledge of mankind at our disposal, and we just needed to do some scientific research, not some random YouTube guide, including myself, telling you that the world is a donut or something. It's not, and that's just do me the favor, is what I want to say. I know I said I would no longer address topics like that, but I find the times being as they are, I should put on a little bit of a perspective for people, and it's all there. And go to a uni and ask people. Ask a professor. There's no such thing as e.g. deep archaeology that is keeping facts from you because they conceal this from you. Because talk to an archaeologist, and in no time you will be fed up to the brim with all the stuff he's telling you, and because most of them are stark raving pissed mad about their discoveries, and they're just so enthusiastic that it can get a little bit much. I know, because I am one myself. So ask people, talk to people, and talk to people that do have the knowledge. There's no harm in learning something, and no harm and there's also no harm in questioning things. But if there is scientific evidence, because science is not an opinion, science is a method. And if science tells you something that it didn't tell you 15 years ago, that's not because they lied to you back then, but because science is constantly moving forward and constantly questioning itself. And this is the culprit of everything. And I'm perfectly ready to question myself, but not on something that has been disproven by the scientific method. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video, no less. I can strongly recommend you get yourself that book. Also, Woodcraft and Camping, obviously, but that's a classic, and I think it's almost a commonplace that any bushcrafter has read it in any way or other, or learned in other ways from it. It is just such a classic and such a must-read as a bushcrafter. So, but I think maybe I could advertise this book. By the way, I'm not getting paid to say this. It's just a recommendation due to my own enthusiasm about it. It's just a really, really great read. So that's it. I hope you find some time to get out in the forest. Look at that, suns come out, and maybe create something. Maybe take out your flask of tea and sit yourself on a stump. Bring yourself a book, or whittle yourself something else, and because this goes a long way to enhancing your resilience in not exactly easy times. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to be able to provide you with another video soon. Apologies if I'm not being able to reply to comments much and keep in contact much, or I would love to connect in real time and and real life too, but at the moment it is absolutely unrealistic that I can in any way, because it's my personal situation is not exactly easy at the moment. So but I hope to see you soon, is what I want to say. And until then, stay sane and healthy, and bye.